So I think we can all agree that the main purpose of a tripod is to hold your camera steady for you. So I tried everything from my XH2S rig, I tried my Red rig, and then I tried a few other cameras to see how they would stand on the top of the tripod. And I'm happy to report that all of the cameras I own, this tripod holds perfectly steady. The only thing that it can't really hold is a book. You're not gonna wanna really mount a book to this tripod. It's not gonna work very well. So if I asked you what brands you would think of at first when you thought of a professional video tripod, I'm betting that Sirui wouldn't instantly come to your mind. And that's because this tripod is kind of Sirui's introduction into the professional video tripod market. This is the Sirui SQ75 tripod with the VHS10 Fluid Head. Sirui sent me this tripod kit to review and to keep for this video. No money was exchanged, and the first time that they're seeing this video is the first time that you are seeing it as well. Now, just to cut to the chase right off the bat, I have been extremely impressed with this tripod, and there are so many thoughtfully designed features of this tripod that make it so much easier to use than a lot of other tripods that I've used and a lot of other tripods on the market. Take for instance this handle that you can attach to any of the 3 Arri locking pin mounts on the base, and it actually has this little Allen key that is built into the handle that you can use to tighten the handle itself, any accessories, and you can also use it to tighten the bolts on the bottom of the dovetail plate to your camera. And the handle makes it so you can pick up the tripod without getting pinched on your fingers, which is incredible, and it also makes it really easy to carry. It's stuff like that that make this tripod so nice to use. Every time I use it, I almost discover a new feature that was so thoughtfully designed that makes it so much easier to use, like I said, than a lot of other tripods on the market. Now, I'm gonna go over all the features of this tripod in a second, but I just wanted to mention the price. Right now, if you purchase it on Sirui's website at the time of making this video, you can get it for $399. That includes the base and the head. Originally, it's $499. I'm not sure if it's gonna go up or down. In typical fashion, they've definitely nailed the cost to value ratio. This tripod is so budget friendly, it's not gonna break the bank, and the features that it packs are features that you would normally only get on high-end tripods that are thousands of dollars. Enough talking about how much I love it, let's talk about some of the features of this tripod. So first of all, this tripod is made out of carbon fiber, which keeps the weight down, but it also is very sturdy and very strong. I've rigged it with a fully rigged out Red kit. It's rated up to about 20 pounds, I think. And the legs do not sway, they don't bend at all. And the clamps on the legs hold tight so they don't drift at all when you have it loaded up. Now, the levers are really nice. So the main thing about this tripod is that it only requires 1 lever per leg to adjust for the full height adjustment from the lowest point to the highest point. I did a little test between this tripod and an older Manfrotto tripod that is kind of rated for the same weight, and you can see how much faster it is when you're only having to use 3 levers instead of the Manfrotto one, which has 6 levers, 2 per leg. And if you need to go from a low height to a high height, it's gonna take 2 or 3 times as long to make those adjustments. Now, this tripod has a bottom spreader where you can adjust how far apart the legs go, and those are adjusted using these little circles down here. And you can do them with your hands, but they actually have little grips on them. I'm not sure if this is how it was actually designed, but you can actually turn these grips with your foot. So you can just loosen those and then adjust the bottom spreader as much as you want. Now, I'm not a massive fan of floor spreaders. I really am more of a fan of mid spreaders because it just makes it a little bit easier to use. So it's not a huge issue. It has a little ring in the middle that you can pull it up so you can collapse it really easily. There's a lot of options to get a nice stable footing for the tripod on a lot of different types of surfaces. Like I said, at the top of the legs, there are 3 different mounting points that use Arri locking mounting pin style connectors. And so one of them I'm using for the handle that's included. And then the 2 other ones, you could attach anything you want. You could attach an arm with an accessory, or a lot of times I like to mount like an audio recorder on the bottom of the tripod. Makes it super easy, super simple, super customizable. The handle, like I said, is another super thoughtful addition to the tripod. Not only does it have the Allen key built into it to make any adjustments to the tripod that you need, but it also is super grippy. It comes out enough that you can grab onto it really nicely to either adjust the height of the tripod or to pick it up and carry it with you. The only thing I would say about the handle is I wish it was actually made out of metal. Right now it's made out of a really hard plastic, which is okay, but when I'm carrying heavier rigs, I wish there was a way to really clamp it down, and I wish it was made out of metal. You want it to be sturdy. It's not a deal breaker. When you're carrying it, you're gonna take your camera rig off, so that part doesn't really matter anyways. The tripod video head packs so many features into it. It's actually amazing. First of all, it has dampening on both the pan and the tilt axes. It's adjustable. The pan axis has up to 4 stops of dampening, and then the tilt axis has another 4 stops. And these are really useful to get really smooth movement. You can adjust how much basically pressure it takes for you to turn the head. So if you set it to 0, it's putting no dampening on it and you can move it really quickly. If you set them to 3, it increases the dampening quite a bit so that you don't have to have that jerky movement right at the beginning. And then same for the tilt axis. If you're at 3, it's really a lot of dampening, and then at 0, it's none. Now it's really designed to use these in conjunction with the counterweight balance. Basically the counterweight balance has up to 0 to 6 stops of counterbalance, and this is dependent on how heavy the camera is. But essentially using the tilt, dampening, and the counterbalance, you can dial it in so that wherever you place your camera on the tripod, on the tilt axis, if it's all the way pointing down or all the way pointing up, wherever you place it, it will stay in that position without you having to lock it down. And this feature is absolutely essential to a good tripod experience. So the fact that you can dial in the counterbalance and the dampening to your liking so that your camera can hold still on the tripod at any position makes it such a great experience. I love those, and it's super easy to dial in, even at 6 with my red rig. So there is some headroom even with a big rig, which I really appreciate. The handle on the video head, actually you can unscrew this and you can adjust how far the handle comes out. So if you want really fine-tuned control and you want really small movements, you can pull this out really far. Or if you want a more compact setup, you can just bring it up. Super easy to adjust. And the handle on the bottom of it is very grippy, really comfortable to use. Now the dovetail on the top is really nice. It's really easy to take on and off. I really appreciate how this lever right here is underneath the top of the mounting plate. A lot of times it's a screw, and if the camera rig is coming off the side at all, it'll get stuck on the screw and you have to do a bunch of weird stuff. So the fact that this one is just flat opening is really nice. And then you just press down on the big blue plate to release the dovetail. And it has 2 mounting points on it, and it's super easy to take in and out. All you have to do is push it into one side and then push it down, and it clicks in like that. And even if you forget to lock down the clamp on the other side, it's not going to come out. It has stops forward and back. And then also if you try to lift it up and down, it'll stay in there. It's a good fail-safe. If you forget to lock it down, your camera's not going to come crashing off. And then you just need to push it in and it locks it in place and it's not moving anywhere. The tripod head is mounted on a bowl mount on the bottom. And a lot of tripods, if you want to adjust the bowl mount, you just twist the bottom here and then you can move it around. It has 2 different bubbles that you can use. There's one on the very top. There's another one on the bottom here with a light that you can turn on. A lot of tripods, you have to unscrew it all the way down in order to take it off. But say you want to move the tripod from this head to, say, a Dana dolly, you can actually just unscrew this about 2 times, and then there's this little button right here that you can press, and it slides the entire thing right off, so you can easily take off the video head and move it to something else while keeping the sticks on the ground. And then when you need to bring it back, you just stick this in, push down the button, You can move it almost all the way up, and then it just requires a couple full turns to get it all locked down and set back on the tripod sticks. Another incredibly thoughtful feature, just makes it so easy to use. I definitely reach for this over any of my other tripods that I own now. Even if I have a small rig, like even if I'm shooting on my iPhone rig, I'll put it on this tripod, or even if I'm shooting on my X-H2S, whatever, I use this rig because it's so easy. This tripod ticks so many boxes and more, things that I never really thought should be on a tripod, but makes so much sense being on this one. All of this tripod kit fits in a carrying case that is included with the tripod. The carrying case is decently well built. I wish it was a little bit thicker fabric and a little bit more sturdy. I also feel like it's a tiny bit on the small side. You kind of have to get the tripod folded up and all put away perfectly for it to actually fit into the bag nicely, but it does come with one, so I appreciate that. This tripod has easily become one of my favorite tripods I've ever used. Now, it's not in the range of high-end tripods. There is another tier of professional tripods that I think includes these features, and they're made at an even higher quality than this. But I would say for $400, this thing is definitely the best you can get. It really spans a wide range of use cases. Whether you're kind of documentary and you're going around setting it up, taking it down, or if you're in a studio setting where it's just staying put and you want to mount stuff to it, there's a ton of use cases for this tripod, and I think it would work for a lot of different people. As a filmmaker, a tripod is a basic investment. I'm guessing that you wouldn't say your favorite piece of filmmaking gear is your tripod, but I would say they're one of the most underestimated pieces of gear that you can own as a filmmaker. So with that, let me know if you have any other questions in the comments. I'll definitely try to answer as many questions as possible. Also, if you didn't realize, I filmed this entire video on the iPhone 16 Pro in Apple ProRes Log, and I color graded it using my Apple Log LUTs that you can purchase using the link below. I also sell Sony S-Log 3 LUTs, Canon C-Log, Fuji F-Log and F-Log 2 LUTs. I also sell a Super 8 emulation called Fake 8 Film Lab. You can check all of that stuff out at lutcompany.com. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'm so thankful for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.